Hi, movies recapped here. Before we start, warning. Spoilers ahead. Today, I will clarify a 2021 American superhuman film called Enternals. The film starts with the Eternals, accepting they are from planet Olympia, accepting their mission from the Celestials through their chief, Ajik, likewise called the Prime Eternal. Simply she can speak with Urishim, one of the Celestials. They suit up and prepare to accept their main goal to Earth by boarding the Domo, their space apparatus. They accept their main goal is to dispense with Deviants, creatures consuming astute life on each planet. They show up in 5000 BC Mesopotamia, clearing nearby individuals from deviant assaults and become friends with them. Circe, a timeless having the option to control matter, is generally connected to people, and is regularly chased after by Icaris, one of the most grounded Eternals, who cares deeply about her. Icaris considers their best warrior, ready to fly and shoot. Astronomical energy radiates from his eyes. The group likewise has Dana, a capable fighter, Gilgamesh, a strong yet caring being, Kingo, who can project energy impacts from his hand, Druig, a psyche controller and clairvoyant, Phastos, a virtuoso brain, Makari, a speedster, and Sprite, an illusionist. After the battle, Circe improves a sharp edge and gives it to a human youngster. In the current day, a similar cutting edge is shown on a Goliath screen in London's bustling Convergence as Circe rushes down to the Natural History Museum to give illustrations to secondary school understudies. Dane Whitman, her present love interest, invites her to class. When giving the talk, a major quake occurs. Around evening time, in the wake of hanging out in a bar, Circe, Sprite, and Dane are going home when they are out of nowhere assaulted by a deviant. They notice that the deviant knows where they are and are just assaulting them, not people. It can likewise recuperate itself like Ajik. Out of the blue, Icaris shows up and powers the deviant to withdraw. Dane requests a clarification of Circe's actual personality and mission, and she clarifies how they thought they annihilated all deviants 5 centuries prior and they won't meddle with all man-made struggles. They actually stay on Earth long after the deviants were annihilated to sit tight for their guidance to return home. Dane likewise gets some information about Icaris, Circe's previous darling for a long time before he left. Icaris proposes that they need to track down the others, so they head to Ajik. Turns out Ajik is now dead, probably by a deviant assault. Grieving, they flash back to bygone eras. In 575 BC Babylon, in the wake of overcoming the deviants and clearing people, Ajik spoke with Urishim through the circle inserted in her chest. She let Urishim know that she feels something uniquely amazing with regards to this planet, however he reminded her not to turn out to be excessively appended to people and just spotlight on their main goal. Phastos showed a high-level plan of the steam motor, which he would show to people, yet Ajik denied his thought and allowed humankind to develop gradually. Around evening time, they were hosting a firecracker gathering. Circe and Icaris fortified and they admitted their adoration for one another. Hundreds of years after the fact, in the Gupta Empire, they wedded. Back to the current day, Circe is as yet grieving Ajik's passing when out of nowhere the circle inside Ajik's body moves into Circe's, representing Circe as the Prime Eternal. She imagines seeing Urishim yet rapidly recovers. Sprite and Icaris are stressed over her on the off chance that she is encountering a mental condition known as Mod-weary, as experienced by Dana. Back in 1521 AD Tenochtitlan, the Eternals were simply crushing the remainder of the Deviants at the point when Dana out of nowhere denounced any and all authority and heard other Eternals. She was mended by Ajik deleting her recollections, yet she asked to have her recollections back. Gilgamesh upheld her, despite the fact that he gambled having her denounced any and all authority once more. Druig faced Ajik, questioning her choices and her principles about them not obstructing man clashes. He unexpectedly left before long. Ajik disbanded the gathering, permitting everybody to carry on with a daily existence all alone. Back to the current day in Mumbai, the gathering meet with Kingo, presently an eminent Bollywood star. Kingo is went with 100% of the time by his unwavering valet, Karun. They go to Australia, meeting Gilgamesh and Dana. During a banquet, Circe actually considers her new position Prime Eternal, heads outside what's more makes a decent attempt to speak with Urishim once more. She at last succeeds and discovers that their primary mission on Earth isn't to annihilate degenerates, yet to plan for the introduction of a celestial named Tiamat, a peculiarity called the development. To develop, it needs an immense measure of energy from astute life. Freaks are additionally Orishim's creation, however they opposed their actual reason to kill dominant hunters on each planet and developed to become hunters themselves. With them being hunters, a planet couldn't have ever sufficient astute life for the development of the celestial. Cersei is stunned to realize that everybody on Earth will bite the dust for the rise, and that's only the tip of the iceberg. Stunned when she knows planet Olympia doesn't exist, as Eternals are constructed and customized by Orishim in a spot called the World Forge. They have their recollections put away there, then, at that point, are sent on missions with no memory of recollections. She discloses her discoveries to the Gathering, reasons that they need to track down a way for the rise to not consume guiltless lives, or possibly put Tiamat to bed. To understand this arrangement, they should go to Druig somewhere down in the Amazons. Druig has blended sentiments after learning reality and at first won't help the group. Unexpectedly, the Deviants snare them when Ikaris is going to tell Cersei something. Thena denounces any kind of authority again while Gilgamesh is frantically battling the Deviants. Outpowered, Gilgamesh is killed, however fortunately Thena recaptures cognizance and rapidly runs to him. The Deviant assimilates Gilgamesh's powers as it did with Ajik. Cersei, diving into a pool with a Deviant, contacts it and utilizes her capacity to change the Deviant into a tree, something she has never done. They grieve Gilgamesh's demise and incinerate him in Hindu practice before Thena disperses his remains into the stream. The group chooses to look for Phastos' assistance in spite of realizing that Phastos had abandoned mankind quite a while in the past. A flashback shows the condition after the 1945 Hiroshima nuclear besieging when Phastos lamented his choice to assist mankind with progressing. In the current day, Phastos lives with his significant other and kid in a standard house when Ikaris and Cersei visit him. In the wake of hearing reality, Phastos reasons that Ajik wouldn't allow him to assist mankind with progressing in a manner he expected to on the grounds that it won't make sufficient populace plans to take care of Tiamat. Albeit at first declining to join the arrangement, he at last consents to help after his better half persuades him to go. All the collected Eternals then, at that point, go to their Damo rocket, covered in present-day Iraq. They track down Makari currently inside, and they start to talk about systems to execute their plan. Phastos clarifies that Celestials are energy generators and instilled Eternals, their manifestations, with a boundless measure of vast energy. From the data that Deviants are currently ready to ingest Eternals' energy, he conjectures that he can build a gadget for Eternals to ingest their own energies too. The unification of the Eternals will make a unimind, giving sufficient energy to Druig to mind control Tiamat to rest. Makari asks what will be done straight away, to which Cersei answers they can track down people another home on another planet. Sprite contends that space colonization could require many years. Cersei answers again that the cycle could be sped up with Eternals' assistance. Be that as it may, Kingo is likewise far-fetched of the arrangement, and asks Ikaris for his perspective. Kingo and Sprite imagine that Ikaris is their most grounded part, so he should be their chief, to which Ikaris cordially expresses that Ajik previously picked Cersei. Then, at that point, he storms from the room. Kingo follows him, saying he would have followed him as he generally did, yet Ikaris is uncertain of himself. Outside, he recalls occasions of 6 days prior, when he visited Ajik in her lodge. Turns out Ajik previously informed him concerning the rise, that they just had 7 days left, also expected to gather the others. In any case, Ajik was uncertain that individuals of this planet have the right incredible a celestial's birth, to which Ikaris conflicts. He was truly stunned to realize that Ajik would plan to stop the rise. Ajik clarified that she saw individuals of Earth carry on with their life and changed her discernment of Orishim's arrangement, incorporating when they prevailed with regards to bringing back portion of the populace deleted by Thanos 5 years prior. Ikaris took Ajik to Alaska, where they found recently stirred Deviants. He told her that he never questioned his motivation despite the fact that he maintained Ajik's mysteries from the others for a really long time. He pushed her from the precipice and looked as she was killed by the Deviants, then, at that point, took her body back to her lodge. Back to the current day, Cersei tracks down Ikaris and approaches him. They embrace each other again and stroll back to the Damo when Cersei is amazed by a heartbeat of energy from her circle. She understands that the rise has started. Phastos has still not calculated a method for building the Unimind, then, at that point, requests that Makari see as the place of development. Shockingly, Ikaris gets ready, then, at that point, he clarifies that he would not allow anybody to upset the rise, regardless of whether it implies he should kill his kindred Eternals. He assaults Phastos' work, then, at that point, Cersei discloses to the gathering that Ikaris had some awareness of the rise from the start. Notwithstanding, she is interested why Ajak didn't pick Ikaris to supplant her. Druig, being telepathic, shouts that Ikaris killed Ajak. Ikaris tells the remainder of the group that they won't prevail against him, then, at that point, plans to leave similarly as Sprite reports she will go along with him. They pass on to the Mark of Rise. The gathering is as yet in shock, then, at that point, Kingo likewise leaves as he accepts they ought not turn against the Celestials and doesn't have any desire to battle Ikaris. Druig lets them know that they need to have a Phastos discovers that Cersei had the option to transform a Deviant into a tree despite the fact that she is still uncertain how she got it done. She likewise denies that she can do likewise to a Celestial. Thane approaches her and persuades her regarding her administrative role and her capacity, then, at that point, Phastos rushes to her to get some information about the circle within her. He conjectures that he can reuse that circle to serve their arrangement. He succeeds, then, at that point, the gathering suit up and go to the place of development which is an island in the Indian Ocean. Ikaris and Sprite, currently on the island, watch the volcanic ejection as they see the Dama drawing nearer. They intend to keep the other Eternals occupied so they would not upset the rise. Ikaris assaults the Dama, experiencing Thana inside. Druig, Makari, and Cersei are getting ready to start the Unimind on the ocean front. In any case, exactly when he can make it lights out, time for Tiamat, Ikaris sees it and assaults Druig. Makari empties Phastos, Thana, and Cersei then, at that point, severely assaults Ikaris. Cersei acknowledges she currently needs to manage changing Tiamat as Druig cannot make it lights out time for him any longer. She goes to the mountain however is wounded by Sprite. Fortunately, Sprite is thumped oblivious by Druig so Cersei can proceed with her arrangement. Phastos, with the assistance of his gadgets, traps Ikaris down. Nonetheless, the Deviant comes to help Ikaris and experiences Thana, practically killing and engrossing her powers when Thana snaps once more into the real world and executes him. At the point when Tiamat is arising, Cersei transforms him into marble stone, however Ikaris get away. At the point when he is going to kill her, he cannot force himself to get it done, so she proceeds with her plan. The Unimind at long last structures, to which Ikaris and Sprite are likewise connected. With that power, Cersei can totally transform Tiamat into stone. She returns to the gathering, embraced by Makari and the others. In any case, Ikaris leaves, traveling to the sun. Sprite needs to change into a typical human, ready to grow up and kick the bucket, to which Cersei concurs to do. The gathering isolates once more, with Cersei, Phastos, Sprite, and Kingo staying on Earth while Druig, Makari, and Thana board the Dama looking for other Eternals. Sprite goes to class, while Cersei invests energy again with Dane. Be that as it may, she is out of nowhere oblivious and detracted from Earth by Orisham. He accepts Phastos and Kingo also and plans to pass judgment on them for their demonstration of killing and everlasting and saving life on Earth. Buy in to observe more recordings like this, turn on notices, and pass on a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.